Okay. Oh, I will start with the prayer. Om. 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 Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai तेजस्विनावदीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. So these are the specific four slokas from Yoga Vashishta as the invocation verses. यतः सर्वाणि भूतानि प्रतिभान्ति स्थितानि च यत्रैवोपशमं यान्ति तस्मै सत्यात्मने नमः. ज्ञाता ज्ञानं तथा ज्ञेयं द्रष्टादर्शनदृश्यभूः कर्ता हेतु क्रिया यस्मात् तस्मै ज्ञत्यात्मने नमः. स्फुरन्ति सीकरा यस्मात् आनन्दत्याम्बरेवनौ सर्वेषां जीवनं तस्मै ब्रह्मानन्दात्मने नमः. दिवि भूमौ तथाकाशे बहिरन्तः च मे विभुः यो विभात्यवभासात्मा तस्मै सर्वात्मने नमः. Just hold on for a second. Hi, Hari Om. Yes.
But I can. Can you see me?
No, I can't see you on my. Just hold on. Let me see. Okay. Uh, uh, but uh, but you can hear us, right? Yeah. Don't worry about the voice then. Okay. That one probably I will ask you. Okay. Yeah. So,
One is center on the prayer book. I use that.
right. Uh, the one that you have been using before, continue to use that one. Okay? Okay, Amma. Hari Om. So that is Ratna Amma from Macon. So I had to answer. I'm sorry. Okay. In the previous class, we read the introduction. As the introduction beautifully, the Swami Jyotirmanandaji explains that this Yoga Vashishta has got so many names: Maharamayana, Uttar Ramayana, Arsha Ramayana, Gnanana Vashishta, Vashishta Ramayana, things like that. And we don't know the antiquity of it, and it's supposed to have been written by Valmiki. And we are going to see that how all this story about how this whole thing came about. And this Yoga Vasishta is supposed to be about 32,000 verses and has 6 chapters. So you can see Vairagya Prakarana, Mumukshu Prakarana, Utpatti Prakarana, that means the origin of the world process, and Sthiti Prakarana, or the sustaining reality of the self, and Upashama Prakarana, the quiescence of the mind, and Nirvana Prakarana, or the liberation. Of this, Nirvana Prakarana is the biggest. Just like in Bhagavatam, the 10th canto is the biggest of the whole Bhagavatam. The Nirvana Prakarana is the biggest, almost half of the Yoga Vashishta is constituted of Nirvana Prakarana, and it also divided into two portions, Purva Bhaga and Uttara Bhaga. Okay. So, and the like I said before, the Yoga Vashishta is so elaborate because of the so many stories that are described here. Not all the stories might be real, okay, but they are given to give us an idea of about this illusoriness of the space and time. And various stories make the point of the importance of the what do you call the sadhana and the liberation as the goal. And in this prayer, you say the first prayer, Yata Sarvani Bhutani Pratibhanti Stitani Cha Yatra Eva Upashamam Yante Tasmai Satyatmane Namaha. You know, the three aspects of the what do you call the Brahman, the truth, the Satya, Gnana, and Ananda. So the first one is praying to the Satya aspect, and the second one, Gnata Gnanam Tata Gneyam, Drashta Darshana Drushya Bhuhu, Karta Hetu Kriya Yasmat, Tasmai Gnatyatmane Namaha. That one who is of the nature of knowledge or consciousness. And then the third one talks about Spuranti Sikara Yasmat Anandasyambare Vano Sarvesham Jivanam Tasmai Brahmanandatmane Namaha. So it's the third one is really talking about the Ananda Brahma. So all of them are the same. But the three aspects that we talk about, Satyam, Granam, Anantam or Anandam. Then the fourth one is actually in the second chapter of the original book. It says, Divi Bhumau Tata Kashe Bahirantascha Me Vibhuhu Yo Vibhatyavatabhasatma Tasmai Sarvatmane Namaha. This Brahman is the Atma of all the beings. Sarva Atmane Namaha. That salutations to that Atma in all beings. So we'll go ahead and start with the Vairagya Prakarana. How we are going to do, we will see how it goes. And you will see in the beginning itself, a story in a story, story in a story, story in a story, very interesting. And so we will go through that story. That makes it the whole thing interesting. But at the same time, there's not too much to discuss on those things. And so the pages will go fast. And that is the reason I thought it's a good idea to have an hour and a half. Otherwise, we will be taking twice as many number of years to complete this book. Okay, sir. Anjaneyulu, sir, you want to read?
Hari Om,
Hari Om.
Prabhuji. So, invocation. Adorations to the self in the form of truth by the light of whom all beings shine and in whom all beings exist and unto whom all beings go to find their supreme rest. Adorations to the self in the form of consciousness, who is the source of the knower, known and knowledge, seer, seen and sight, actor, cause of action and action. Adorations to the self in the form of the bliss of Brahman, from the vast ocean of which all the delights of the world proceed as gentle dewdrops that sustain the lives of gods, men, and all beings.
Want to comment?
So the section one starts. Raghuji, you want?
You want to comment on the
Yeah, so as you explained, Raghuji, the invocation slokas, Sat Chit Ananda. The first sloka is explained of Sat, then Chit and Ananda. So three elaborated of the some gist of the three slokas we read in the invocation.
right. Yeah. So particularly I like the second one. It says, attend to the self, which is a consciousness, which is the source of the Triputi. The knower, known and knowledge, seer, seen and sight, and the actor, the action, and the cause of action. So all the Triputis come from the same source. That Brahman alone is indicating the Advaita, and that the bliss of happiness that we all experience is just a drop of that ocean of consciousness that is Brahman. So that's why when we chant that, I remember the Taittiriya Upanishad, where in the Brahmananda Valle, it talks about the degrees of bliss experienced from starting from a human up to the Brahmaji, and even the each one and about I think 9 stages, it's about 100 times more happiness than the previous one. Even the Brahmaji's happiness is only a drop of the bliss of that infinite Atman. Okay, Ashwin, are you there? Or did he disappear? He was here. Okay. Nuligar, you want to read, sir? It is next three
I
paragraphs.
have I have the older edition, so do you want me to still read it? I can read
Yeah.
it.
Go ahead and read it, and if there's significant difference, I will edit it.
Okay. Vairagya Prakarana section, first section, Sutikshana and Agasti. Once upon a time, there was a Brahmin Sutikshana whose mind became overcome with doubts. Having approached the ashrama of sage Agasti, he asked with profound reverence, O sage, you are the knower of dharma, the secrets of righteousness. You have churned the cream of all the scriptures. I have a great doubt in my mind. Please instruct me so that the doubt may be dispelled. Should I go ahead and read?
Yeah, one more, please.
In action, karma, the cause of moksha, liberation, or is it wisdom that accomplishes freedom of the self, or is it both, the blend of karma and wisdom? Please tell me which of these is the cause of liberation.
Want to comment?
The question he raised is whether it's the karma that takes you the moksha, or is it the knowledge that takes you to the moksha?
Right. Yeah. So what do you guess? Which one would take you to moksha?
Well, actually, I read a little bit more before. The bird flies with the two wings.
Right.
So it has to be the two, both of them together.
Right. So just like Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that the karma and gnana are one after the other sequence, that both are necessary for attaining the goal. You cannot do it, only one. Everything depends upon the attitude that you look at, and a person who is completely dispassionate, then probably gnana is all that is necessary. But for sadhakas like us, karma, in the spirit of karma yoga, we will purify the mind, and then the gnana will take us to the final goal. So here you can say that a Brahmana Sutikshna. So Brahmana signifies the one who is desirous of knowing Brahman, who is in the path of Brahman. So now we will say what Agasti says, and I don't have the complete list here, so I'm going to look and decide. Anjaneyulu is finished, and then Maya, you want to read them?
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Okay.
Read the next
Says,
3 paragraphs, Amma.
okay, I also have the older version, okay?
Yeah, there was no significant difference in the first 3 paragraphs.
Okay, thank you. Says Agasti said, a bird flies on 2 wings. In the same way, the soul soars towards the supreme abode of liberation on the wings of Gyan, wisdom, and a karma, action. Neither by mere action nor by mere knowledge can the state of liberation be acquired, but by a blend of both, moksha is realized. Both, therefore, constitute the means of liberation. In this context, I am going to relate some ancient history to you.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all is yeah. So we already discussed,
Right.
the liberation is done with both of them, not just one.
Right. So, if you read only the Upanishads, then the Upanishads usually talk about only the completely dispassionate person going to the Guru. Then he will say, Gnana alone. He talks about Gnana. In the Upanishads, you never hear about the karmas. But here, probably that Sutikshna was not ready for it, and so that's why Guru is telling you need both of them, just like Krishna telling Arjuna. So, okay, and Mano Naidu, you want to read, Amma?
I don't have the book.
Oh, you don't have the book yet. I'm sorry. Okay, already. Ratnamma, you have the book?
Yes, yes. In this context, I am going to relate some ancient history to you. Karunya and Agniveshya. Sage Agasti began. In the days of yore, there was a Brahmin known as Karunya, who was a scholar of the Vedas. He was the son of Agniveshya, learned in the Vedas and Vedangas. Having studied all these under a guru, he returned to his father's home. Having returned, he continued to be immersed in confusion and abstained from the performance of karmas, that is, religious rites and duties of life. Having observed this, his father approached his inactive son in the following manner.
Yeah.
Okay. In this context, this when the sage, Agasti is going to tell the story to his son, because he wanted to know whether the karma takes him to moksha or whether the wisdom takes him to the moksha. So he is going to tell the story. Anyway, it says both. And also he gives the example of this Karunya and Agniveshya. He is the, Karunya is the son of Agniveshya. And then, so when he came home, he's a scholar, but still knows the Vedas and everything. When he came home, he was not doing anything, either religious rites of duties of life or he just he did not know what to do. Hari Om.
Very good, very good. Already. Okay. And Kumar, you want to read, sir?
Yes, sir. Hari Om. Agniavesha asked for the benefit of his son, O child, why have you ceased from performing your duties? Tell me, how can you attain success if you remain inactive? Please present before me the cause of your withdrawal from activities. Karune answered, the Shrutis, the Upanishads, and Smritis code of ethical laws enjoin that as long as one lives, one must perform Agnihotra, fire sacrifice, and daily religious rites, dharma, righteousness, in the nature of pravrti, activity. At the same time, they also declared that moksha or liberation cannot be attained by wealth or by activity or by progeny. It is solely by renunciation that seekers after truth attain supreme freedom. Hari Om.
Now read the next one too.
Tell me, my Guru, Father, of these two ordinances, which should be followed by me? Being confused on this account, I have become indifferent to the performance of works.
Yeah.
Hari Om.
Want to say anything?
Yeah, he's just asking what, because he's not working, he came after the Guru's place, and his father noticed he's getting inactive, not doing anything. So the father asked you, what is the reason you are not, you just dropped everything and you're not trying to do anything at all? So he answered about the Upanishad and Shrutis, and as long as one lives, must perform Agnihotra and do the religious rites. And he declared moksha or liberation cannot be attained by wealth or by activity or by progeny. So it has to be combination. You have to do both. You have to have wisdom along with jnana to get the liberation.
Yeah, yeah. So apparently the Karunya has understood well, but he was confused. Apparently, when he went to the Guru, he didn't ask the Guru exactly what he should do, and so being confused, he was not doing either. So that's why the father was asking him. So the two paths, Pravritti Marga and Nivritti Marga. So just like we chant that mantra, karmana na prajaya danena tyagena ike amritatvamanasu. So that's what I think that paragraph is referring to. So that moksha or liberation cannot be attained by wealth or by activity or by progeny, and only by renunciation. Tyage naike amrutatvam anushuku. And so the son is humbly asking the father, tell me what is my duty. Okay, and Satyan, you want to read, sir?
Sure, Guruji. Agastya said, having thus spoken to his father, Karunya became quiet. His father, Agnivesha, then answered his silent son in the following manner. Dear child, I will relate to you a beautiful story. Please listen, and having fully considered its significance, do as you like.
Go ahead and read
Sure.
the next 5 sentences. This is two.
Suruchi and Devadatta. Once there sat a heavenly damsel, Suruchi, the best of the Apsaras, on a mountain peak in the Himalayas that abounded with peacocks. Here the Kinnaras, beings of the astral world, afflicted with desire, sported with their mates, and the heavenly stream of Ganges flowed on, washing away the sins of the people. In these picturesque surroundings, Suruchi saw a messenger of Indra, the lord of heavenly beings, soaring through the sky. Then this most fortunate Apsara addressed the divine messenger. O great one, where are you coming from? Where are you going? Please tell me all this. The divine messenger replied, O beautiful Apsara, you have asked a very good question. I will answer you accordingly.
Yeah. Want to say something?
We'll need to read the next story, Raghuji, because the previous one, Karunya saying not doing any work or not doing his usual Agnihotra sacrifices, etc. And his father, Agnivesha, is saying, I can explain. And now they are talking about Suruchi. So we'll need to see what is there actually.
Yeah, right. So you can see that, like I said, the story within a story. Now, a third pair are given here: the Apsara by name Suruchi and the messenger of Indra. His name is not given here, and the story continues with another pair. So we'll continue with that. And yes, sir.
Can I make a suggestion? It may not be good for you all, but instead of reading through, but the significance of these stories at some point toward the end, that may be the more profitable and then probably more interesting than reading the story in the story and wasting, in terms of to me. But that's what I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, you are right in one way, and you mentioned it even in the last class to change the books to a shorter version. But I felt that for the other people who have not studied it, and even some people who have studied it, to go through it once more, it is a very interesting thing, and we can learn from the stories also, and also the time travel and all the space and things will be completely left out if we read any other book. And here also summarizing, I don't know how good it is going to be, because I feel that the other people being busy with their work don't read at home and come. And so I personally feel it's a good idea to continue to do this. And then as we go, if majority of the people express to me that, hey, let us, you just summarize it, let us go faster, then I will be thinking about it. Thank you for the suggestion, Reddy garu.
Thank you.
Okay.
Reddy, one thing, because these stories are actually small, one person can complete that one full story, right? Then we will have continuation, right?
Do you remember these stories? You just
No.
just reading. That's all we are doing.
No, my point is, here is actually one, see for this Aristotle and Devadutas, you can actually, one person can read the whole story, then we can discuss about that. Right? Because, Satyanji read it, but it didn't came out anything out of it, because nothing else is there to explain. Nothing else is there.
Guys, let us proceed. We have just started. This is the second class. Things like this, it will take time for us to realize the benefits. Let us go along.
Thank you, Satya. Okay, Raja Reddy garu, you want to read, sir?
Where do I start?
The Aristonemi and Devadatta.
It's an old book, new book, and then I'm trying to figure out. So maybe the messenger of God said that. That's the point.
The Aristonemi and Devadatta heading. There lives the royal sage.
Page 22.
So you are not following the reading.
Page 22 is a picture.
Are you following the
There
old
in my
book?
book, there's a picture. And 24 is Devadutta, divine messenger. And then next thing is King
Yeah,
Ariston.
so Raja Reddy garu, it's from Devadatta, the divine messenger continued. Oh, beautiful lady, listen. Yeah, from there.
What?
You said.
Read from 24.
Yeah, 24, page 24.
Yeah.
Yeah, which point?
From the first line onwards.
First. That's what I said. That's the beginning. Okay. Devadutta, the divine messenger, continued. Oh, beautiful lady, listen. I shall relate to you all that has happened with Ariston army. Indra commanded me to take a heavenly chariot bearing dancing apsarasat with their musical instruments and furnished with a band of Gandharvas, Siddhas, Yakshas, Kinnaras, celestial being, to King Aristonemi in order to invite him to heavenly world. Accordingly, I drove the celestial Vimana to Aristonemi and delivered to him the message of heavenly Lord Indra. And hearing my words, King Aristonemi was reluctant to accept the gifts of. I have no comment.
Okay, thank you. Sudhirji, you want to read?
Yes, yeah, hearing my words, King Aristonemi was reluctant to accept the gifts of Indra. King Aristonemi said, O divine messenger, tell me what are the advantages and disadvantages of the heavenly world. Please enlighten me on this point. Then I will decide whether to accept these heavenly joys or not. The messenger of God said, heavenly joys are experienced according to the meritorious karmas of the souls. Those who have the highest type of meritorious karma in their possession enjoy the highest delights in the heavens. Those who have the medium type of enjoy the medium form of the joy, and those who have the lowest type of meritorious karma enjoys the lowest form of heavenly delight.
Go ahead and read the next one too.
Due to this variation in heavenly pleasures, the mind of the heavenly dwellers are also afflicted with jealousy, a sense of competition, hatred, and elation. When the meritorious karma is exhausted, the souls witness their fall from the heavenly regions. They must again enter the embodiments on earth in order to ascend the spirals of spiritual movement.
You want to comment?
Yeah, so as once King Aristonemi refused to accept the Indra, then he was asking what are the advantages and disadvantages of the heavenly world, as we call it as Swarga. And he's actually inquiring about what is the difference, okay, how the heavenly joys looks like. Then he was actually giving the different types of, if you do a lot of, say, punya, you will be in a one place, and then, variation, the gradation, and lower to middle to high. And so because of this variation, there is, in Sorga itself, they say that it's a, jealousy is there, competition is there. And once this, and that is also, it is actually temporary. You are actually, once you, what is that called, complete your punyas phalas, and it actually coming down, and then you have to restart again. That is what I understand.
Right. So you can say that many people do a lot of punya karmas so that they can go to heaven. And so a discriminative person like the king wonders, hey, what is there in the heavenly world? Okay. Because of all his tapas, he was eligible to go to the heavenly worlds, even up to the Indraloka itself. But he, being discriminative, he wants to know, hey, what is in the heavenly world? And so when it's described that even the worldly, what you call the jealousies and higher level, lower level kind of life, is there even in the heavenly worlds, okay, that who really wants to go there, knowing that it is temporary, that after experiencing the heavenly pleasures, one has to fall down. Just like Lord Krishna says, there are two paths, the path of the sun and the path of the moon. And so this is the path of the moon that he is talking about. And so, being discriminative, we will see what the king says. And we will see. Veena, you want to read, please? Next three
Hari
paragraphs.
Om, Hari Om Raghuji. I don't have a book and I don't even know which one to get. So if you can tell
Okay.
me.
Okay. I'm going to send you the email, Amma.
Okay, thank you. So,
Ashwin, you want to read the next three paragraphs?
Hari Om Raghuji.
Hari
Yeah,
Om.
even I don't have the book, Raghuji. So if you can
Okay.
forward me the email, I'll look into it.
Okay. Nag.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om, sir.
The king, having had this, said, O messenger, I do not wish to go to the heavenly world where the enjoyments are perishable and defective. I will give up my body by performing intense asterisk, just as a snake gives up its skin and glides on. I will not ascend to the heavenly worlds. The heavenly messenger continued, I carried the celestial chariot back to Indra and related to him the conviction of the king. At this, Indra was struck with surprise. He commanded me again in a soft voice, Go, my messenger, to the king and take him to the ashrama, spiritual hermitage of sage Valmiki. Relate my message to sage Valmiki that he may instruct the king for the attainment of liberation. The messenger. Accordingly, I took the king to sage Valmiki and related to the sage the wishes of Indra. The sage welcomed the king and listened to his spiritual inquiries.
Yeah. Want to comment?
No comments.
Yeah. So you can say when a person has the dispassion and is ready for the knowledge, the guru comes. Here you can see the Indra realized the dispassionate nature of the king Aristonemi. And so he said, hey, he's just doing the tapas and purification of the mind. He doesn't really know the Upanishadic knowledge, and so he should be given the knowledge. And so he sends the messenger back to take him to the Guru, the Valmiki. And so such a beautiful, you can see the sequence of events that are happening here. That's the reason I wanted to read the whole thing. Even this book is concise, but the important points about the Vairagya Prakarana is beautifully shown here. The Aristonemi has that kind of a Vairagya to the pleasures of this earth and also the pleasures of the world. So, okay. Anjaneyulu sir, you want to continue?
Sure, Raghuji. King Aristonemi and sage Valmiki. The king asked sage Valmiki, O great seer, you are the greatest among the knowers of truth. Your very presence ensures my welfare. I wish to learn from you the art of escaping the miseries of the world. I am afflicted with the sorrows of the world process. Please instruct me so that I may become liberated from all forms of pain and sorrow. At this, sage Valmiki said to the king, I will relate to you the story of the Ramayana, which expounds the nature of indivisible Brahman, the Absolute. When you listen to its teachings, you will attain liberation in life.
Go ahead and read the next three paragraphs too.
Okay. The Ramayana is in the form of dialogue between Rama and sage Vashishta. This is the potent method of attaining self-realization and is highly propitious. You are fit aspirant to listen to this teaching. King Aristonemi asked, O best among the knowers of truth, who is Rama? What is his nature? In what family was he born? Was he in bondage or in state of liberation? Please tell me all this. Therefore, sage Valmiki explained how the divine Vishnu chose to incarnate among the mortals, having accepted curses from various persons.
Yeah.
So we are coming to the root of Yoga Vasishta. Oh,
Right.
nice
Right.
sequence. So, and one of the important thing, Raghuji, I want to relate like in Kathopanishad also, the Nachiketa was, tempted with all the worldly gifts and all, but he didn't listen to the, and he was very bent upon the what is moksha, ultimate truth. So here also the king, though he was given other benefits of Svargaloka and whatever things, but he didn't want that because he has to come back again to the normal, embodiment of life on the earth. So that's what one is bent upon what is the goal is, then the goal will come to him. Yeah.
Correct. Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, you are right. I forgot to mention that Kathopanishad thing about how Nachiketa, being so young, had that kind of a dispassion, and not only the worldly pleasures and wealth was put in front of him to ask, even the heavenly pleasures were given, and to live as long as he wanted. But he knew, but even as long as he wanted, is still only a spot in the eternity. So, Nuligaru, you want to read, sir, the next 4 paragraphs?
The story of the divine incarnation. Once the divine being was cursed by Sanat Kumara. It so happened that in the assembly of the Brahma, Sanat Kumara did not rise from his seat when Lord Vishnu made his entrance. At this, Lord Vishnu cursed Sanat Kumara to become an ordinary mortal and to experience the miseries of an embodied individual. In turn, Sanat Kumara cursed Vishnu to be born as a human being and to lose his omniscience and omnipotence for a little while. Another curse was pronounced on Vishnu by the sage Bhrigu when he saw his wife merge in Vishnu. Vishnu was again cursed by the wife of the demon Jalandhara, Vrinda, because Lord Vishnu beguiled her by assuming the form of her husband. Again, when Lord Vishnu incarnated as Nrsimha, man-lion, the pregnant wife of Devadatta was killed out of fear. Thus, Devadatta pronounced a curse on Vishnu.
Yeah. Want to
And
make any
maybe
comment?
you can, I don't know some of these stories.
Yeah.
Maybe you can enlighten us, especially, of course, the first one I understood, where the Sanat Kumara and Vishnu curses each other.
Right.
And the second one, Bhrigu, I think that is also some of the Puranic story, I remember. And the third one, I don't know. And the fourth one, I don't, I didn't know.
Yeah.
The third one is Jalandhara, Vrinda.
Yeah. Jalandhara is said to be a king who was a devotee of Lord Shiva, and Vrinda was such a pativrata, because of her power, nobody could kill him. But he was like a demon, like Ravana, okay, causing so much havoc in the world. Okay, so only way that that he could be brought down was by breaking the pativrata ness of Vrinda. And so Lord Vishnu is said to have taken the form of Jalandhara and seduces her. That breaks the Pativrata of Vrinda. So that's just a story. I don't want to persist on it. And so Jalandhara curses Lord Vishnu for doing what he did. Okay. So the only thing way I understand this kind of stories is Bhagavan, if somebody acts unrighteously, okay, even if he is so powerful and he doesn't mind doing a sinful activity for the sake of the world, and even ready to take the curse. So even the Bhagavan, they cannot be cursed, okay, but to set an example to people, then he says, hey, I did something wrong, and I'm ready to face the result and experience go through the result. So that way, these are all the incidences because of which Lord had to be born as Lord Rama and had to go through the suffering of being separated from his wife, from this spouse. So the same way with that Devadatta and Narasimha story. So the pregnant wife of Devadatta who watched Narasimha, he got so scared because of that great fear of seeing Narasimha, she aborted. Okay, and so Devadatta, I'm sorry, she died, and so Devadatta curses Lord Vishnu himself. So the only thing is, all these people have, though humans, they have such great spiritual powers. Okay, and without understanding, they become angry. They still don't have control, and they are ready to curse even the Bhagavan himself. But Bhagavan doesn't mind, and he said, okay, I'm going to go through the result of this your curse without any cursing the person back or doing anything negative. So,
Raghuji,
okay.
Raghuji, I only one thing I just want to see in that first chapter, first paragraph, right? See, Bhagavan is supposed to be Nirguna, right? So then, and also all these enlightened persons, here in case this Sanat Kumara, they are all considered, though how they lose their, how they can become angry and all, right? Because, Bhagavan came and he didn't really raised from his seat. So suddenly Bhagavan is actually feeling, so those things are actually, of course, I'm just taking it as in the story perspective. But, as we actually go through this or Upanishad, we say that we have to overcome our jealousies or anger and all, right? So this is actually how we take that one. This
Yeah, the way I look at it is, though he is Nirviguna, Nirvikara, here all these Puranic stories are referring to Saguna aspect of the Brahman. That that Nirguna Brahman had taken the form of Narsimha, and that Nirguna Brahman had taken the form of the Vishnu in the what do you call
Jalandhara's case, right?
no, in the what do you call the Loka, the Vaikuntha Loka, and with the Jalandhara story. So so we are looking at the Saguna form of Bhagavan, not the Nirguna aspect of the Bhagavan here. So
Okay.
and the same way, there are different kind of stories are given in Tulsi Ramayana also for the reason for the Lord Rama being born by Tulsi Dasji. So, okay, Maya, you want to read, Amma? Here, in the next, what we are going to see is not the story, but the mystic implications of this whole story is being explained by Swamiji. So we need to read it slowly and steadily.
Okay. Mystic applications of divine embodiment. The scripture points out 4 causes for embodiment of the divine self. First one is Sanat Kumaras, represent the chitta or the mind stuff. Lord Vishnu represents the self. The predicament of individuation of the Supreme Self is caused by the veil of ignorance. The obscures the transparency of the chitta. The basic cause of the embodiment of the soul is expressed through this story. It is
read the next two paragraphs.
Okay. It is as it were the chitta that curses the self, and in turn the self curses the chitta. The description is figurative and highly mystic. Hindu scriptures are replete with such stories which can be taken at surface value as well as at the deeper level of mystic understanding. In both cases, the stories are meant to fill the heart with the devotion and insight.
Yeah. Want to say something?
Well, they are talking about the stories, and first they talked about the Sanat Kumaras, who represent the chitta, mind stuff, and Vishnu, of course, is a self, and they are cursing each other, and that is expressed through these stories. And then he's saying chitta curses a self in turn, and Hindu scriptures is telling the stories can have it both type of values. At the surface, we just read as a story. And other one is a deeper level of mystic understanding in both, hills with the you can have a mystic meaning or just the story, whichever way. But it says the both of them the devotional in inside, it fills your heart with the devotion.
Right. Yeah. People who are spiritually advanced, they study the Jnanakanda portion in the form of Upanishads and Vivek Chudamani and things like that. But for regular people who are not so dispassionate, the Puranic stories give this various kind of allegories and stories which creates great devotion in the heart of the devotee. And that along with the devotion, that slowly he develops the gnanam also. So that's why in Puranas, you see both the bhakti and gnanam. And like even in Shveta Shavadra Upanishad, as we study, you will see, though it is a Upanishad, you see the devotion aspect also there, but not as elaborate as in Yoga Vashishta that we see, or in Puranas. So we will continue, and
Raghuji.
Yes, sir.
In the first para, this says the predicament of the individuation of the Supreme Self. What is that actually? Is that when he says individuation, that is to... I didn't understand what exactly the Swamiji meant.
So both Sanat Kumara is the individualization, and even Lord Vishnu has taken the form. Okay. And here what I understand is, I feel that Sanat Kumara should have known, hey, Lord Vishnu is the Bhagavan, the Supreme. Okay. But just because he has taken a form, it doesn't mean that I am equal to him. Okay. And so, when Sanat Kumara did not get up at the entrance of Vishnu to show his devotion, to teach him a lesson, okay, Bhagavan said, you be born as an ordinary being. but not understanding the whole thing, and instead of saying, okay, I'm sorry that I'll be born as human being, when can I come back, or whatever, that he wanted to curse the Lord himself. Okay. And so apart from that, I can't tell you anything more. The only thing I say is, when you become an individual, okay, you have a tendency to have some what you call characteristic of the individual person. But an avatara does not make any mistake. Okay. But we, as human beings, or even sometimes when so-called enlightened, can make mistakes. But the chances of a realized person making mistakes is very minuscule, okay, at a very higher level, and that we should not be judging the realized people because of our ignorance that we make mistakes. So if somebody is said to be realized, then we should show our respect to that person, and even if in our own mind, that if we say, hey, he is wrong, okay, that we should completely surrender ourselves and not criticize the other person. So the only thing that I learned here is that one has to develop humility. So, and that chitta is one with the ego. So that ego leads to making mistakes. And if that chitta has no ego, then it becomes the self itself. Okay, and let us see. Maya is finished, and let's go to Kumar.
Yes, Hari Om.
Hari Om.
The cause of Bhrigu reveals this following significance. Sage Bhrigu represents ego, while his wife represents intellect. With the advancing spiritual movement, the intellect loses its association with ego and merges with the cosmic self through intuition. It is the inability to promote this spiritual merger of the intellect that becomes the basis of repeated births and deaths.
Yeah.
They talk about Bhrigu because Bhrigu says it was ego, and ego was so strong, and his wife was intellect. With the advancing spiritual movement, the intellect, when it loses association with the ego, that's the only way you can get moksha liberation.
Right.
As long as the ego is with not separated from the intellect, you are going to have a birth and death cycle.
Right, right. So those who might have read the story of the cause for the birth of Lord Vishnu as Lord Venkateshwara, the cause for that is actually Bhrigu. And so that's why here it says Bhrigu represents ego in the story. Go ahead and read the next number 3 also.
In the episode of demon Jalandhara and his wife Vrinda, the story has it that the demon Jalandhara became very powerful and used this power against the gods in the heaven. It was Vrinda's devotion and fidelity to him that enabled him to be so powerful. Lord Vishnu accomplished that demon's destruction by deceiving Vrinda. Having assumed the form of Jalandhara, he led her to infidelity. When Vrinda detected this deceit on the part of Vishnu, she cursed him to embody himself as a mortal subject to the human grief. Here's a spiritual implication. The demon Jalandhara represents the tamasic ego dominated by the principle of inertia. His wife, Vrinda, presents the feeling aspect of personality. In the state of bondage, the feeling aspect of personality is chastity devoted to ego. This is the secret of the substance of the ego center. But through a spiritual movement of divine self into the chambers of one's feeling and unawares, the latter loses its fidelity to ego. This development, wherein feeling is converted into spiritual love, destroys and transcends the ego principle. The story of Vrinda's curse is suggestive of that state of development wherein the feelings aspect is reluctant to undergo spiritual transformation. This continues to sustain the individualized state of the self. Hari Om.
Comment?
Yes, talking about the Jalandhara and the Vrinda, and because he was so strong, and Vishnu visited his wife, and she found out all about it. Then she cursed him to be born as a human to face it. And he's talking about the spiritual implications. Is the demon Jalandhara represents the tamasic ego dominated by the principles of inertia. And he's talking about Vrinda represents the feeling aspect of personality. And state of bondage, the feeling aspect of personality is chastity devoted to the ego. The secret of the substance of the ego center. But through the spiritual movement of divine self, steals into the chambers of one's feeling and unawares, the latter loses its fidelity to ego. This development, when feeling is converted into spiritual love, destroys and transcends the ego principle.
Right. So the Vrinda was such a devoted person. That devotion, instead of showing that devotion to Bhagavan, she was showing her devotion to her husband. Unfortunately, it would have been okay if the husband was a sattvic person, but he was being a demoniac person, that it was not getting, that devotional Vrinda was not getting released. And so Bhagavan wanted to help. Actually, if I remember the story right, later on it is Vrinda who is going to be born as a Tulsi and get married to Lord Vishnu. So that's why you conduct that Tulsi Vivaha. So that attachment to the ego is gone, and now she becomes one with the Bhagavan himself.
Jaguji, on that, what is that Vrinda's curse actually, that, what does that actually mean? Where the other one I got it, but how?
I don't remember the details. Only thing I see is that she also cursed because she was separated from the husband. The husband got killed. And so she wanted to curse Vishnu also to be separated from the spouse.
Yeah, no, I was not asking that the story. I was talking about, see, she curses Vishnu. So how that is actually the spiritual implication, what is the meaning of it? Because
Only
here,
the way-
Jalandhar is, Jalandhara is actually called the ego, and she is the feeling. And so she is actually, the feeling is actually kind of feeding that ego. And then it is actually, that's the base of the ego center, right? The feelings. Okay, so then if we are actually in the spiritual movement, without that, we will not come out of the ego. I understood that. But then that cursing the Vishnu part, right? So what exactly happens there? What is actually exactly the meaning?
Only thing I can say is she was so devoted to the husband, okay, and she did not know the higher level. Okay. And if you knew Lord Vishnu, that is the supreme being, okay, she would have been very happy. But not knowing that he is another human being, okay, that she ended up cursing the Vishnu. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. We'll contemplate.
Okay. Next one is Satyan. You want to read, sir?
Sure, Raguji. In the story of Devadatta, whose pregnant wife expired at the sight of the terrible form of Vishnu as Narsimha, man-lion, the significance is Devadatta represents the individual soul and his wife represents desire, which is pregnant with a Mayic development. With the vision of Narsimha, divine will, the soul is rid of its desire. In these four allegorical stories, given as explanations of divine incarnation, the sages have presented the four aspects of bondage caused by ignorance or avidya. When the veil of ignorance is removed by wisdom, the soul recovers its essential identity as the absolute.
Want to comment?
I mean, that's the great advantage of our religion, actually. We have these highest principles in easy to understand stories that everyone can read and understand and imbibe, actually. And you have Upanishads, you have Vedas, then you have all these stories which all communicate the same thing. But I did have one question, Raghuji. So the four aspects of bondage. So we have Bhranti Janya Tadatmya, Karma Janya. Then what is the other one? Guys, help, please.
Sahaja Tadatmya.
Yeah, Sahaja Tadatmya. Then what is the fourth one?
Only three.
I've forgotten. Anybody? Manoma? Okay,
I
this
thought it is only three.
Yeah, there are only three Tadatmyas.
I thought it's only three. That's true, Nuligaru. That's what I was thinking. Where is the fourth one coming from?
Here it mentions the four aspects bondage, but Swamiji does not mention what are the four. The only thing I say is the ignorance. Ignorance is the our mind. It's our mind being antakarana. It is the intellect, the ego, the mind, and the chitta. So how those four are in these four stories that we have to look at it. I have not paid attention to it.
To me, the body, mind, intellect, and chitta, there are four of them. But I think he's merging chitta and the intellect together, I guess. I don't know. There's no separation of chitta with in these stories.
Now, the first one he mentions the chitta because he says the Sanat Kumara represents the chitta, and then he talks about the ego in the second story. And in the third story, he talks about the tamasic aspect. So, but he doesn't mention exactly which one as a tamasic ego. So it's still the ego. But the other aspect is the devotion or the mind. So that is the Vrinda is the mind.
So there's nothing about the body. Yeah?
No, not the body. The four aspects: mana, buddhi, chitta, and ahankara.
So it's all ahankara, just the om, the what do you call it?
And the ahankara.
Ahankara, ego.
So though the four aspects are mentioned, here you can still see that ahankara is the ego, and the mana is the vrinda, and the chitta is the Sanat Kumara. The four aspects I cannot see. So it still comes to only three.
Satyan, I'm looking at Drigdrishya Viveka. There are only three. Sahaja, Karmajam, and
and
Bhranti.
Antijanya. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Manoj. There are only three. That's why I was
Yeah,
asking.
that's why when Balakrishna Oligaru was saying it, I didn't remember there was any fourth one. There are only three.
Already. Is Raja Reddy garu here?
No, it says Iho, Ahangara, Buddhi,
I
Manas,
have nothing to say.
Manas and Chitta.
Mano Buddha Hankara Chitta Ninaha.
That is what, that is a four. Ahangara, Buddhi, Manas and Chitta.
Okay. Raja Reddy garu, you want to read?
Okay. So the story is finished now. Significance of story.
No, he talked about the mystic meaning of the stories. Now, Swamiji is talking about the significance of the story within a story. This is also comments by Swamiji. So, please read that one.
Okay. I'm going to read that one.
Yes, sir.
In Yoga Vashishta, the world is presented as a long dream of the soul from which it must wake up to realize its essential nature as Brahman, the Absolute. The world is like a dream within a dream, a mind within a mind, illusion within an illusion. This theme is set forth in the commencement of this vast work in the form of series of stories. So,
go ahead and read the whole thing. Afterwards, you can comment.
Second one, continue.
Continue until number 6.
Number 6, okay. Krishna approaches Agasti. For enlightenment, Agasti tells the following story. Karunya seeks to be enlightened by his father, Agniveshu. The latter tells the following story. Suruchi, a heavenly Apsara, diverting herself in the picturesque atmosphere of the Himalayas, listened to Devadutta, the divine messenger, who tells the following story. King Aristonemi, having renounced the pleasures of the heavenly worlds, sought the nature of the self at the feet of the sage Valmiki. The latter introduces the following story. Lord Rama, the divine incarnation of Lord Vishnu, is instructed by sage Vashishta so that he might recover the essential nature of his divine self. This is the central story encompassing the teachings of this great work. Sage Valmiki further introduces the story of himself and his disciple, Bharadwaja, who was the first recipient of his great work, Yoga Vashishta.
Just finish that next paragraph and stop.
Okay. Throughout the writings of Yoga Vashishta, the spiritual teachings are being given to these 6 aspirants by Agasti, Agnivesha, Devadatta, Valmiki, and Vashishta.
Yeah.
There is a mystic implication. Okay, I don't have anything to say.
Okay, very good. So you can say there's a story within a story. That's the way the Puranic stories go. This is almost like a Purana and talking. And so the spiritual teaching is given to these 6 people. Agastya, I'm sorry, the 6 people by Agastya, Agnivesha, Devadatta, Valmiki, and Vashishta. So Vashishta is the one who gave this teaching originally, and then Valmiki gave that knowledge to his student Bharadwaja, and then Devadatta was given the knowledge by Bharadwaja, and then the Agnivesha gave it to his student, and the Agasti gave it to his student, I forget his name. So, like that. So, story within a story, but the same story of the teaching of this Yoga Vashishta by Vashishta is given to all these people by all these teachers. Satyan, you want to read, sir?
Sure, Raghuji.
Go ahead and read the next 2 pages.
I'm reading from significance of a story within a story, right?
Now, there's a mystic implication.
There is a mystic implication at each of these 6 levels of spiritual teaching. Sutikshana literally means sharp or subtle. Agasti is a name for the effulgent sun. The approach of Sutikshana to Agasti implies the movement of the intellect towards intuition. This is the basic theme of the spiritual movement. An aspirant who is aware of this basic picture of spiritual movement is of the highest type. The approach of Karunya, one who is in grief and confusion, to Agniveshya, one who is an embodiment of fire, is symbolic of the need of the Chitta, mind stuff, to be permeated by the fire of Samadhi, superconsciousness. One who lacks the subtlest form of intellect needs to purify his mind through the practice of Raja Yoga. Thus, he can allow the karmic impressions to be consumed in the fire of Samadhi. This level belongs to the aspirants who are the next to the best type. Suruchi, good taste, approaches the divine messenger, spiritual inclination. This is symbolic of the integration of sentiments required on the path of spiritual movement. This is the theme of Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion adopted by those aspirants in whom sentiments are more predominant. The scripture of Yoga Vasishta provides such entertaining discourses that the aspirant is tempted by mere mental diversion at the outset, but he is gradually led to spiritual heights. The aspirants at this level are mediocre in nature. King Aristonemi, the destroyer of evil, symbolizes the movement of Rajas, active energy, towards sage Valmiki, the purity of nature, Sattva. Sage Valmiki was so called because he emerged out of an anthill after a prolonged state of samadhi. This emergence is symbolic of transcending the body through the increasing development of sattva or purity. Rajas, active energy, is transmitted into sattva, harmony and purity, in the process of spiritual development. This story sets forth the nature of these inner movements on the spiritual path. The nature of Lord Rama, the divine self, in a state of embodiment, and sage Vasishta, the self established in the highest state of liberation, depicts an integral movement of the soul towards the state of self-realization. With Lord Rama as the ideal disciple, the teachings of yoga of sage Vasishta cover every aspect of spiritual movement. The mention of sage Valmiki and his disciple Bharadwaja is to highlight the need of a guru-disciple relationship for attaining the spiritual knowledge. Thus, these 6 points indicate the different types of aspirants, different process of transformation in the personality of an aspirant, and the all-comprehensive account of spiritual movement that is being presented through the work of Yoga Vasishta. Wow.
You can see how beautifully Swami Jyotiramayanandaji is giving the implications of all the stories. There's not just the stories, that there is some inner meaning for it. And only a person like that who can dwell into that mystic meaning, being a realized person, to explain. You want to comment on any of these things, Satyan?
Just a couple of things, Raghuji. One is this for me is like integrating Upanishad and yoga, actually. Paramahamsa Yoganandaji's, when we read the commentary, he sees these allegorical impressions in everything, and he tried to interpret it in yoga. So this seems to be a combination of Upanishadic teachings and what yoga gives us.
Right.
And the other one is in each of these six, I am trying to see if I can fit the Shatka Sampati actually. Shama, Dama, Uparama, Titiksha, because I see some similarities in this. I'm just trying to see if it can be fitted in.
Yeah, you are the right person. If you can come up with it, you can present it in the next class. So other
try.
people who also got the idea from you, they can also be thinking about it. So that will be a good point for our Parthas of Atlanta if you want to make your presentation and other people can contribute to it.
Okay.
So you can see how the people of different temperaments and different spiritual advancement all are in the same spiritual path. And the only thing that I see here is that the karma and the gnana being combined together, that we saw in the one story, that here that karma, Swamiji refers to the Raja Yoga. Okay. And Swami Jyotirmanandaji is also a teacher of the not only Gnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Raja Yoga. He used to teach the what do you call the Ashtanga Yogas. He himself used to teach the various postures and all that. Later on, I think about 10, 15 years ago, he developed arthritis, and so he stopped the what do you call the yogic exercises. But his students continue to teach yoga even now. I think 2 days a week or 3 days a week in Miami. So, okay, you got 7 minutes. Sudhirji, you want to read? Finish this chapter.
Yes, sir. Hari Om. Yes. The immortal teachings of the Gita are presented through the very lips of divine Krishna to his immortal friend Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Arjuna was confused as to whether he should engage himself in action or shun the righteous war and devote himself to meditation and renunciation. Lord Krishna leads Arjuna on towards that understanding which upholds the activity of life without upsetting the serenity of the soul. He teaches the art of harmonizing wisdom and action, renunciation and activity. The theme of Yoga Vasishta is similar. The basic problem is presented through the words of Sudikshna, who wants to know whether liberation can be attained by mere knowledge or by mere activity, pravritti, or by combination of both. To this, he receives a brief reply that just as a bird soars on both wings, so too the soul soars onto Brahman on the wings of knowledge and action. The blending of knowledge and action is a profound mystery. It is the mystery that is being elaborately explored through the great work of Yoga Vasishta. While the Gita is a work of precise as sutras, aphorisms, and ancient philosophical discoveries, the work of Yoga Vasishta abounds with the elaborate expositions on the same problem and its solution. Viewed from the different perspective, Yoga Vasishta portrays the divine self assuming the role of a princely disciple and listening to the message of higher self presented by sage Vasishta. Having attained enlightenment, he realizes, I am the divine self, and engages himself in the performance of the mission in life for which he was born. Thus concludes the first section in the Vairagya Prakarana entitled Sutra Patanaka, the introduction. this is, I mean, yeah, it's just a, how Gita and Yoga Vasishta is actually giving, and also, giving, what is, it is the similarities of it. And here there also, Krishna is actually redirecting as a when, Arjuna had confusion, Bhagavan actually giving him, yeah, you have to have, of course, the Jnana Yoga is good, but you have to do the Karma Yoga too. So this is as like earlier, one example we mentioned, that you need both two wings to fly towards to the Brahman. So I mean that is what I understood. The rest of them is just
very nice. So you can see Swamiji himself has brought the similarities between the Bhagavad Gita and the Yoga Vasishta. Yoga Vasishta is said in a more elaborate fashion to make the story or teaching interesting. And of course, the Gnana aspect is more elaborately explained in the latter half of the Yoga Vasishta, lot more than it is in the Bhagavad Gita. Gnana portion is spread out starting from the second chapter up to the 18th chapter with the various other techniques, Karma Yoga, the Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga, and the Gunatita Prakarana is beautifully explained, and so both have their own positive points. So we will continue and see that again in the next Thursday. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaः, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkhabhag Bhavet. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all. Hari Om.
Thank you, Dr. Raghu. I want to
Hari
do you mind sending me the emails only because I'm not too familiar with the WhatsApp?
Say it again, Amma.
I'm not too familiar with the WhatsApp in my phone.
Right.
Is it okay to send the emails to me, please?
Yeah, right. I will do my best, Amma. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Hari Om. Hari
Hari Om.
Om.
Namaskaram.
Thank you, Dr. Raghu. It was
Hari Om.
Uh,
Anybody wanted a set of books from our bookstore? No. Okay.
Yeah, Raghuji, and that page number 30 and 33, 31, that mystic implication, I will write, I just wanted to connect it. I will send it to you. Can you just give me correction if I will send it to you maybe in another couple of days.
Okay.
Because that Sudikshana, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? All those.
Right.
I just wanted to just how that is actually we can actually because it is a very very tough thing to just to understand itself, right? So I will write what I understood. I will spend time on it and see you can actually correct me.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you. I'll do that. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Okay. Hari Om.